mysterious drones that have been hovering in the skies over the East Coast, primarily in New Jersey. But we're starting to get more reports of sightings in other locations, and not just New Jersey. In fact, some of the reports indicate that there have been sightings now over in Pennsylvania as well as in New York. And then we get the report coming out of New Jersey that a drone may have crashed. By the way, one of the concerns is that when they first started noticing that this was happening is that it was being spotted over President-elect Trump's golf course in Bedminster on November the 18th. That was one of the very first drone sightings. By the way, that was over a U.S. Army location, which is pretty near to the president-elect's golf course. So the FBI and other agencies are investigating. Department of Homeland Security is playing it like this. We have no more information as to where these drones are coming from, where they're launching from, or where they're landing. So does that make you feel more or less secure about the whole situation? Again, they have no more information as to where these drones are coming from, where they're launching from, or where they're landing. And you know what? It's creating a lot of frustration, both up on Capitol Hill, where it's now gathering, the nation's attention, but a lot of frustration among local officials in the state of New Jersey who are like, come on. With all the money that we spend on intelligence gathering and our technology in this country, how can we not know more about it? Now, what about this report that a drone may have crashed in the overnight areas? So this is from, we have multiple reports, in fact. This is from NorthJersey.com, where they said there was a reported drone crash that the township of Pequannock, I hope I'm getting that name right. I think so. Their police department and the sheriff's office responded to the scene, and they were able to determine that it was not military grade, it was not commercial, but that it was more of a, say, like a hobby drone, or a toy drone, something much smaller than that. But let me get you over to the report from Daily Mail, where they're also talking about the same location, Morris County in New Jersey, and that there was a scanner report that went out over social media where an officer described in a 911 response that there was a drone that had crashed near a home in that area. But here's the part that makes it a little more mysterious, I guess you could say, because according to that officer on scene, again, this is scanner traffic. It's certainly not a news release yet from the police department, but that 10 additional drones then appeared near the scene of the crash. And the officer was said to have reported over the scanner it was a crash. A drone fell out of the sky by the power lines behind their house, and then 10 more showed up. So that I don't know how important that part of the story is or not, but we're seeing that in some cases it's not just one drone. Sometimes it is, but in other cases it's multiple drones. And why are they primarily being spotted? And we have more reports today of more drone sightings happening. And as I say, New York reporting them now, and Pennsylvania as well. Maybe a sigh of relief that the one that crashed in the overnight hours was more of a hobby model. But our poll question this morning, I think, just dives into Celeste joins as well. Hi, Celeste.
Hi, Ron. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Okay, so let's go to our poll question. I'm going to drop the... Got our guys, both Johnny and Jeff, who are on top of this. We might be able to refresh and just show you kind of how these numbers are moving around. But right now, about 60% of people are just skeptical enough to say, I would not one of the countries that is our adversaries. If that's the case, and they can fly these drones uninhibited across the skies of multiple states, we all know that drones by now have been weaponized. I mean, we got to get our act together as a country. to be able to know what is going on when drones are flying in the sky. If you're a hobbyist, you have all kinds of rules that you have to follow before you can ever fly a drone. And then the bigger ones, which there are multiple reports that some of these drones are, as far as maybe 6 feet across, and that they can sometimes appear in groups and then remain in the same place for several hours.
So, just doing a quick update on these drones. I'm going to play real quick now. I just want to get through this really quick. Next, I'm going to play a remote review and report done by a group called Farsight. You can check out their work on YouTube. I'm just going to play some excerpts from that and kind of show what they saw as far as they did a remote viewing project to look at, I guess because of all the wars and different things going on, to see if there would be any military activity inside of the United States, and this is kind of what they came up with.
The target is the most important event that would describe the level of domestic engagement of the U.S. military in that particular month. The world is in such a precarious state currently, with the war in the Middle East involving Israel and its neighbors, and the war in Europe involving Ukraine and Russia, both threatening to spill into wider conflicts, plus the political polarization in the United States. It seemed natural to ask if anything might happen that could affect the deployment of military resources within the United States. Many wars only affect the United States indirectly, as they take place in distant lands. But it is unclear if that will always be the case. So we decided to take a look with a Farsight Deep News project. We have results from 4 remote viewers for this project, and we hope to publish all of them as single sessions before the start of December 2024. And as with all of our Deep News sessions, they will appear on both farsightprime.com and YouTube. None of this was expected. All of the sessions contain data that seem disturbing, to say the least. But we are faithful to our mission here at Farsight, and we publish our raw data for all to see, no matter what. We learn with each project along with everyone else.
Deep news. Here we have Intisum, and let's just jump right into it. Intisum, just before we go into everything, you do not know the nature of this target?
Nope.
All right, so let's start off with your initial target perceptions. I see on page 4 you started describing some stuff, so why don't you just take it away, and when you're done, I'll chime in.
Yeah. So my initial perception of this environment is a base surface with slightly irregular topography. I have man-made land that looks mostly level, a city with subjects inside and outside of the structures. I have a crowd here as well. One non-surface structure above this base surface with subjects inside, bright light, moderate foliage level. I also have energetics. So I have like a fire, heat, or maybe like explosive type of energetics. And that seems like there's also smoke and burning smells that's coming along with that, because I was finding it kind of hard to breathe in this environment. Lots of movement by subjects and objects. I'm getting loud voices, blaring, booming sounds. Temperature here feels warm, and when I probe into like what here is the most dominant element, I'm picking up that it's a crowd of subjects. Pickup is tall structures, and the backdrop looks like an urban environment. I'm getting a focused gathering or a crowd here. There's lines of subjects, like they seem organized. So I deducted like a march, and then I get an image of this subject on a raised platform, and then there's subjects on a lower vent observing this main subject. Going into a collective deep mind probe, I feel like it's a somber mood here. The subjects feel serious. There's something heavy in terms of like this occasion. It just didn't feel good to me. So I deducted like getting drafted, which is like, oh my God, that's very scary when I think of getting drafted. At this point, at some point on this, things are foggy, but I'm I'm feeling like this is an unexpected turn of events, and certain subjects are feeling confused as to why this is taking place. So I then moved to the target event here. All at once is a lot of activity. There's subject in rapid movement. There's a sense of chaos here. The environment here looks somewhat dilapidated, like there's damage to the structures. It's loud, it's so loud, clamoring, noises. And then as I look around, some areas look empty and like eerie, like it shouldn't look like this. And I'm perceiving energetics at the distance. So I have a little sketch here of this urban environment. There's energetics in the back. I have some subjects. And then I have bright objects in the sky, 2 illuminated bright objects, So, yeah. Objects in the sky, 2 illuminated bright objects, So, yeah. So those bright illuminated objects, they feel like energetics. So when I probe into the source of those energetics, the source is a group in a distance location. I'm only seeing a few subjects in this immediate location, but the area is kind of like surrounded by foliage. So in this image, I'm showing what looks like a structure that's shooting out energetics. And then there's a few subjects surrounding. There's like an object in the back of them that looks like it's filled with stuff. There's male subjects. They're uniformed, light to tan skin tone with kind of like, their face is kind of dirty also. The mental state of these subjects feels unusual. So I was like, is it compromised? Kind of feels like their mental state is compromised in some. This source is coming from non-surface structure that is flying overhead and dropping the energetics down to the base surface.
Wow. Okay, so focus 3. What'd you get there?
Focus 3 looks like a harsh environment. It looks like this place has been razed to the ground. There's one singular tall structure amongst the rubble, and even that tall structure feels like is not in good condition. I deducted the Nagasaki bomb dome. When the bomb was dropped, there was just one structure that was standing. It feels like this here. There's a specific area that has a notable depression. The land kind of like dips down. And it just feels awful in this place. Whatever this is, it doesn't feel good. And there's like a notable depression in the air. And it feels like people here have lost their lives. Like this is the zenith of an escalated situation. And it feels like the impact of a powerful force. It's terrifying to see these kinds of things. So I deducted an apocalypse.
So I'll stop that right there. So the drones. So just an update on, because I started looking into this whole drone thing. And as you know on this channel, if you watched this channel before, I get into RV, precog dreams, different things. Something I've been into since my old channel. It's been going on I've been investigating these things for probably about 10, 12, maybe 15 years. So anyway, so that's kind of, I don't cover just current events, so I get into other things like RV. So anyway, that last report was a report from a group called Farsight, where they were looking at possible military activity inside of the United States. Now, mind you, they did this report before all of this drone stuff started. All right, this report was released, I believe, and done before the whole issue with the drones. The drone swarms now all across the United States, and it's not just New Jersey; it's everywhere. It's New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York. They're seeing them in Oregon, et cetera, et cetera. You can look up the reports. I'm not gonna document every single report across the U.S., but as you can see, they're going on everywhere. I mean, and so when I saw the RV report, which I follow RV reports anyway, it wasn't just because of the drones, but generally I follow RV because I'm an RV practitioner. I do RV. Um, I also document precognitive dreams of minds and also other people, stuff like that. So, and I research these things. So anyway, when I came across the RV report and then I saw the drones, I kind of just put it two and two together just to see what, kind of compare notes. And with what I've already, assessed and analyzed myself. And so what I would say is what I think or what it looks like is that there is probably going to be there are imminent attacks that are going to take place, obviously, right? On the U.S. I mean, they're involved in just, um, they're involved in huge conflicts around the world right now, in Russia, Ukraine, in the Middle East. And the people that they're dealing with, this is not 1920. The people that they're dealing with all have hypersonic missiles. Whether it's North Korea, whether it's Iran, whether even the Houthis, whether it's Russia, of course. These groups, and then Russia has already talked about, giving hypersonic technology to all these other groups, which they now have. And all of these groups can reach the United States with drones as well as with hypersonic missiles within minutes, not hours, not days, within minutes, right? And so they're positioned in submarines with drone motherships, and they have hypersonics pointed at the United States. That's a known, that's a given. You could be the stupidest person in the world, and you should be able to figure that out. So I think but some key takeaways from some of the reports is that should alarm you. It's not that I mean it's alarming, but this has been a long time coming. You shouldn't be shocked about something you knew was going to happen anyway, right? Like you don't need Nostradamus to tell you that if you keep fucking with people, eventually there's going to be some problems. You're going to have a problem, right? You're not that bad, right? Like nobody will bother me. We're number one. Yeah, that shit went out the window, right? With the advent of hypersonics, right? And the proliferation of nuclear missiles all around the world. For example, North Korea, Iran, etc. So the whole untouchable situation went out the window because now people can match, they can match the aggression, right? They might say, well, we don't have an army, but we do have nukes. We do have hypersonics and nukes, you see. And even if they're conventional hypersonics, they can cause one hell of a problem. I mean, Iran has about probably 20,000 conventional hypersonics. And with the right conventional warheads, they can wreak havoc on all the U.S. bases in the Middle East, as well as Israel, et cetera, right? As well as all of the naval assets. And so, it's a given that at this point, the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean does not make you safe, right? You are no longer, untouchable if you live in the United States. And so now in this remote viewing report, we see that looks like that whole thing's about to come to fruition, where that whole the veil of the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean being protection for the U.S. is going to be breached. Okay, it's going to be breached, and you're gonna have attacks on the homeland U.S. and not just an attack like 9/11, but a sustained attack. Like you're gonna be, it's gonna be a constant back and forth. Now it may not go nuclear, it may just be conventional, but it's still a problem, right? When you got people with, thousands of missiles raining them down on different, areas, hundreds if not thousands, raining down. Not to mention, even if it was only dozens, it would wreak havoc. You know, if you got, drones and missiles coming into, even by the dozens coming into Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, you can imagine the kind of, mayhem that's going to cause. And so, with the economy, with business, everything, yeah, so, and, but one thing I also want to say is that what they showing by not really talking to the public and preparing people is that they don't really care about you, right? That's something I think you need to raise your level of awareness, because you're dealing with a government and people in general like don't give a fuck about you, right? And so you're gonna be left to fend for your own at a certain level. Like you may have, for a little while you may have some agency supports, right? But depending on how bad this gets and then where you are when this happens, you'll have very little support. I mean, if you look at what happened with the floods in North Carolina and FEMA and people complaining, you look at Hurricane Katrina and different things, right? Well, this is going to be worse than that. And so, it's just obvious, like, where these people are telling you, hey, listen, move along. There's nothing to see here. There's no danger. I mean, it's obvious danger. Like, do you really need, like, it's just like if you see a bear, a grizzly, circling your encampment, and then somebody comes on, you call somebody on the radio, some park ranger, say, hey, man, I see a grizzly bear circling my encampment, and they say, well, there's no imminent danger from that bear. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go to lunch. Call back if you have a problem. And you say, well, I see this goddamn grizzly right here. What do you mean there's no imminent danger? Grizzlies are known man-eaters. So you have people telling you, right? Mind you, these people are spraying pepper spray on bears, right? Bears, Russia, right? They're over there shooting missiles into Russia at Moscow. American-made weapons supported by America and their proxy, the Nazis in Ukraine and the NATO Nazis, are shooting missiles into Russia proper. Right outside of Moscow, shooting drones and missiles, right? And if you look at, it's obvious, the Middle East, it's a bloodbath. It's a total bloodbath in Syria and Gaza and Lebanon, right? It's off the hook. So this is going to blow back soon. And from what the remote viewers are seeing, looks like it's going to be pretty bad. Like the U.S. is going to take a hit. And that's what's going on with these drones, right? These drones they're basically preparing, right? It's just like military drills. And the reason they're telling you there's nothing to see here is because they know what's going to happen, right? They don't want to panic the sheep. They don't want to cause a stampede and say, listen, really, think about it like this, right? You look at John Kirby, you look at that Indian bedwench over at the Defense Department that's on the news every day. You look at, all these media whores on the news, right? Do you actually believe that they're going to come out and tell you, listen, Joe Biden just released a report. They're saying that there's an imminent attack on the United States, right? Not just an imminent sustained attack by Iran, Russia, and China, combined forces and North Korea, whatever, and they're going to launch. Do you really think they're going to come on the radio and tell you that? Do you really think that these clowns, these media whores, they're going to issue statements and say, listen, there's an imminent attack. It's going to be an imminent, sustained attack on your city. You really think that they're going to come and tell you that and say that in a report on the nightly news? Fuck no. They're going to tell you the opposite of that. They're going to say, they don't give a fuck about you. They're going to say, listen, there's nothing to see here. There's no imminent danger. You say, but I see all these military drills, these drones, which are obviously military drills, going on in preparation for this attack that they know their intelligence agencies listen to the chatter, right? And so they know what's about to happen. They know that they're about to be attacked. That's why they're flying all these drones around and they're prepping and trying to prep and stage and drill for these imminent attacks inside of the U.S., right? Just like Ukraine, just like Gaza, just like Somalia, just like Libya, just, fill in the blanks. You say, no, we number one. Yeah, stop. I don't know what you're smoking. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. You see? Those chickens, as Malcolm X said, are about to come home to roost. Now, it took a while for the chickens to get back home, but the chickens are now home in the form of hypersonic missiles and drones, etc., 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 right? So put on your big boy pants and just accept it. They're not going to tell you. You'll get a hint, right? Message. Now, whether you prepare or whether you are aware of what's happening or what's about to happen, well, I mean, that just depends on, your level of, intelligence. Right? Your level of stupidity. I mean, if you didn't realize that they don't give a fuck about you and they wouldn't tell you or warn you watching all these drone reports, I don't know I don't know, nobody can help you. If you watch this shit in the way that they're like, oh yeah, there's no imminent danger, but we don't know what's going on. We have zero idea what's going on, but we do know 100% everything's okay. Go back to sleep. Now, if that doesn't wake you up, excuse me, and tell you like you're in deep shit, that you're on your own to figure out what's going on and when it's gonna happen and what's happening, nobody can help you. Like, well, but that's not shocking because I got people in my family like that that's probably watching all of this and they're like, turn that off. I'm trying to watch, reruns of the Jeffersons or Good Times, or LeBron James. The game is on, right? The game might be on, but it may not be on for long, and that's not going to help you. You better wake up, right? Smell of coffee, as they say. Because they're not going to say jack shit to you. You're just going to be sitting in your living room or wherever you're doing, right? Beating off or whatever you're doing, and then kaboom. That's how that's going to happen. And you're going to say, well, why didn't somebody warn us? Well, you were warned. You just were ignoring shit. Right? Anytime somebody tells you, I don't know what's going on, but there's a perceived danger, and you say, well, what's this perceived? Is there is there really a threat? Right? Something weird's going on, like these drones, these military drills, these drones and all this. And you see all of war going on in Russia, you see everything in the Middle East, North Korea, whatever, right? China. You see all this yourself, but you're too stupid to just take a hint. So when you get your head knocked off, you shouldn't be surprised, right? You see all of this happening, and then when somebody comes out and says, hey, what's going on? They say, well, listen, we don't know what's going on, but there's no threat. And you say, oh, okay, thanks. Thanks for the tip. Thanks for the update. And then you just skip down the block. La 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 la, chilling in la la land, living my best life, right, in la la land, and skip down the block, and you ignore everything else that's going on. You deserve what you get. I'm just saying, right? You kind of deserve what you get. You let somebody play you like that. Because that's what they doing. They playing in your face. Because these are military drills, you see. And then what's funny is, like, you gotta really be a bunch of suckers that's getting fleeced for trillions of missing dollars at the Defense Department, right? Think about it. The Americans are a bunch of suckers that are getting fleeced. Trillions missing. They're giving these people trillions of dollars. And then something happens and they say, you know, they're giving billions to Israel, billions to prepare and fight and whatever, billions to Ukrainian Nazis and Israeli Nazis, right? But then when you ask, you're giving all these money, you say, hey, what's going on around here? They say, oh, there's nothing going on. You say, well, do we have resources to look into this? Oh, we got to work on that. We got to work on it? What do you mean you got to work on it? What about all these trillions of dollars? All these satellites, Elon Musk space programs, all this stuff. Y'all can't take, like, you know, a couple bucks and just look into this? Nah, we busy. We busy giving Ukraine billions of dollars and Israel billions of dollars and stealing trillions of dollars and fleecing you suckers, right? And building underground bases for ourselves under New Jersey. There's a base, there's underground bases, right? So that we can hide in while you get the shit bombed out of you, right? You and your dusty ass kids. You and your fat ass kids, right? Eating Twinkies. They don't give a damn about you. I mean, it's quite obvious, right? You're just being fleeced. That's why they call you sheep, right? And so they're going to go hide in their bunkers very soon. I'm going to wrap this up. I didn't want to make this too long, but they're going to go hide in their bunkers while you get drone struck and hit struck with drones and, you know, hypersonic missiles. I believe the remote viewers are right, you see. I believe that report was right, and I believe it's imminent, what's going on. Long story short, I'm going to wrap this up, but I believe that the RV, the remote viewers were right. That all hell is going to break loose in the United States. And that this is just a precursor of what's about to happen. So you better buckle up. Better pay attention and buckle up. Or not, right? Or not. Because, you know, like, sometimes, you know, like, you ever watch those nature shows and you get the dumbass, you know, gazelle that keeps wandering off and then gets eaten by lions? And it probably was sick anyway, right? It probably was kind of sick. And so that's nature's way of getting rid of the weak and the sick. Well, this may be nature's way of getting rid of the weak and the sick. You know what I mean? Like, the earth needs to cleanse itself and, you know, stuff like that. There's a lot of cancer on the planet. And so at some point, there's going to come a point where the earth and nature, which is intelligent, right? The universe is intelligent. The universe is going to have to cleanse itself of all of the cancerous diseases on the planet so that the planet can go back to its original organic form. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pretty. So you have to prepare for that, right? As they say, when you're playing poker, if you don't know who the mark is that's sitting at the table, it's probably you. If you don't realize that you're going to get wiped by the universe, right? You don't realize anything's going on, but a lot of shit is going on coming down the pike, you're probably that mark sitting at the table that's about to get wiped. I'm just saying, you skipping around in La La Land, it's probably you. You're the mark at the table that's about to get wiped. If you think somebody coming on and telling you, hey, listen, I don't know what's going on. Like, you let people talk to you like that. It's like a 5-year-old child, right? I don't know what's going on, but don't worry about it. You're not in any danger. While they create some of the most dangerous situations that has ever existed on the planet Earth by sticking a finger in the eye of a group of people that have the most advanced hypersonic nuclear programs in the history of the world. I mean, I don't know, man. It seems like at a certain level, common sense. What they say, common sense ain't common. So, but anyway, on that note, I'm gonna wrap that up. That's all I got.